Of Apples and Magic by Legion of Pony. Of What Love Bestows, Part 2. The Final Chapter. The next 7 months went by quickly and without any real incident. Twilight's belly swiftly growing and ending up making her look like she had a giant beach ball inside of her, much larger than an average mare's given she was carrying twins. Nothing major happened in that time, with the two mares happily living together and simply living their lives, loving to watch the gradual expansion of their mate's belly, and loving even more the times they could go and view their growing quartet of foals at the hospital. Applejack had taken leave of her duties on the farm, and neither had received any notifications from the Kiwi map nor had to attend to any monster attacks. Twilight simply doing the desk job portion of being a princess. It was as though the entire universe was accommodating their pregnancy with a year of peace. Just after the 11-month mark of her third term, Twilight's water broke and she went into labor one day during lunch, being rushed to the hospital with Applejack always by her side through it all. As they prepared Twilight for the birthing process, Applejack looked back at her own very swollen belly, also quite large given it was twins, knowing full well it would be her turn to deliver her own foals in a couple of months. The first birth went smoothly, Twilight pushing when told as the doctor helped ease their foal out of its mother, Twilight squeezing Applejack's hoof in a vice-like grip with each contraction. Overall, it was quite the experience for both mares, Applejack getting a taste of what she'll be going through in 2 months as she watched her mate give birth. Fortunately for her, Twilight had a pain-killing spell cast on her, making it so all she had to feel was the intense pressure of the contractions passing their foal into the world, much more pleasant than the alternative. As they heard the muffled cry from beneath them and looked down, Twilight slumping to the bed as they rested, they saw their firstborn. "Congratulations, Princess! It's a unicorn filly! We're going to clean her right up, do the post-birth tests, then give her right to you. We won't even leave the room," the wet nurse promised, then proceeded to do just that, all in sight of the two mothers. Meanwhile, Twilight felt another wave of contraction start as her second foal shifted lower in her pelvis, her body preparing for its delivery. "Doctor, the second is crowning." It was another hour of Applejack's hoof being crushed before Twilight and Applejack heard another muffled cry coming from beneath them. "It's another unicorn filly! Congratulations, you have 2 beautiful little girls," the doctor announced, earning a smile from Applejack and an excited, tired pant from Twilight. "Good job, Twilight. I'm so proud of you. You're a mama now, and I'm a mama too," Applejack softly exclaimed, giving Twilight a kiss on the cheek as she rested, the nurse taking their second foal for its own tests, the first coming back as perfectly healthy. After the whole birthing process was completed and mother and foals were found to be healthy, Twilight was brought one of her daughters while Applejack held the other. "Welcome to the fold, my little girls," Twilight whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks as she looked down at her daughter, Applejack's eyes also welling up as she held her twin. The firstborn had a pure white coat, just like her grandmother Twilight Velvet and Uncle Shining Armor, with Applejack's blonde mane and tail, it being highlighted with burnt orange, rose, and fuchsia streaks. Her eyes were the emerald green of Applejack as well, and she was indeed a unicorn. The second foal had a heliotrope purple-pink coat like Twilight's, her mane and tail an azure blue tone similar to her grandfather Nightlight and Uncle Shining Armor's. Her eyes were a golden yellow, much like Apple Bloom, and she was also a unicorn. "So, what are you going to name these 2 precious little foals?" Nurse Redheart asked, holding a clipboard and pen in her magic. "And also, we need to know the foal's size for the records, if you know it. Sorry, regulations." "Well, we would like to name the white-coated filly Dawn Glimmer, and the purple one Magic Spark," Twilight responded, getting a confirming nod from Applejack. "Also, the sire's name is Applejack Apple, my wife." The nurse blinked. I'm sorry," she said, looking to Applejack. "You mean this Applejack? This mare Applejack?" Twilight nodded, her expression serious and somewhat annoyed. Oh, Okay. I'll just go ahead and write that down, princess. I'm sure it'll make more sense to a unicorn how a mare can make a foal with another mare. Never been one to question unicorn or alicorn magic. Redheart mumbled out, herself an earth pony, writing down Applejack was sire to the newborn princesses. As Redheart then left the mares and their foals to bond, Applejack brought Twilight into a hug. Twi, thank you so much for this, Applejack said, reaching over and nuzzling against her cheek, planting a small kiss on it. Well, to be fair, we both made them. Together, Twilight responded. Applejack only nodded, more focused now upon the beautiful fruits of their loins. After they left the hospital, when Twilight had rested and recovered enough, they headed back to Sweet Apple Acres, where Twilight was spending more and more time in the past months. Both had set up a nursery there long ago, with enough supplies and 2 double-sized cribs for the 4 foals soon to come. As their foals were laid down the first time, Applejack having watched Twilight feeding them, she realized just how heavily pregnant she herself was, and how she was due within months. Wow, Twi, what's it gonna be like having 4 foals run around here before long? She asked, simply getting a giggle from her mate. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. One night, just over 2 months after Twilight had blessed them with 2 healthy foals, and the sleepless nights that brought, the time had come. Twi, it's time! Applejack called out urgently, just as they were settling down for bed, and Twilight was brushing her teeth, feeling another contraction rolling through her belly, making her wince. Twilight quickly woke Big Mac to watch their foals, who were already starting to walk, as most ponies started at 2 months old, explaining the situation quickly before rushing off to tend to her wife and help her go to the hospital. Once more they arrived at the hospital in record time, but with Applejack being prepared for that act of nature soon to occur this time. After a couple of hours of Twilight's hoof getting crushed this time, making her feel sorry for her doing the same thing to Applejack's when she had given birth 2 months past, the first of their foals passed into the world with a fluid-filled cry. The 2 mothers hearing the announcement that it was a handsome colt. After cleaning him up and confirming he was a large and healthy boy, they brought him to Applejack. With her body taking a break after passing the first placenta, her second birth seeming to take a while to happen, unlike Twilight's immediate second set of contractions. Applejack was only too grateful for the breeder after all the pushing she had just done to get the big Earth Pony colt out. Boy, howdy did you take after your Uncle Big Mac. You're huge, Applejack exclaimed as she saw the size of her foal and felt his mass in her hooves. Her and Twilight both looking down upon their third foal. He was a rather large Earth Pony colt with a brilliant tangelo orange coat, his mane and tail mid-violet. His eyes were a lighter green like his Uncle Big Mac's, and like Applejack's father's had been. So, you liked giving birth so much you brought your wife in for the fun too a couple months later, huh? Nurse Redheart joked, earning a chuckle from Twilight and Applejack both. So, more seriously, what would you like to name him? And who is the sire, if you know? Applejack looked at Twilight, who nodded. Magic Apple. You would like to name him Magic... oh my gosh, the other one's coming. Applejack groaned out, feeling her contractions starting again as the second foal shifted lower in her pelvis. It was another half hour before the second twin was birthed, with him being weighed and otherwise checked before coming back with the same clean bill of health as his brother had. This one was also an Earth Pony colt, a light azure blue coat upon his body, and his mane and tail an orangish blonde. His eyes were indigo, like his mother Twilight's. After Applejack was sufficiently recovered from the second birth, the nurse approached again as the mothers held their rather large colts. They're very handsome. Congratulations. Now, what would you like to name your colts? And who may I list as your sire? After a confirming nod from Twilight, she continued where she had left off before her labor had started again. Well, like I said before, we would like to name the orange one Magic Apple. Then his here one, she said, nuzzling the blue colt. We want to name him Apple Star. Also, the sire is Princess Twilight Sparkle, my life mate. This time, the nurse was less surprised at learning that the two mares had conceived together twice now, and quite frankly, for her sanity, didn't want to know how they did it, and instead simply wrote it down that Princess Twilight was the sire, that fact making the two colts princes. "Alright, and that'll do. I'll leave you two to get bonded with your colts now," she said, dismissing herself. Applejack simply nuzzled her mate as they held their newest additions to the family, knowing that 4 foals would be a lot to handle, but also knowing they had all the help they could ever need. Her friends, as well as Twilight's parents, volunteering to watch them whenever it was needed, plus Spike, Starlight Glimmer, and a nanny appointed by Celestia, would be living in Twilight's castle where their foals would be raised. "Well, we sure got our hooves full, don't we, Twi?" Applejack asked, looking down to the blue wrapped bundle in either of their hooves. "Yep, and I wouldn't have it any other way." "You're darn right, my love." "Love you, Twi." "I love you too, Applejack." Applestar cooed in his sleep. The end.